Hey guys, Derek from Doc's Diesel. Today we got a 2014 F250 in the shop, and we're actually introducing our new hub assemblies, our premium hub assemblies that come E-coated. E-coating helps with corrosion resistance and durability. So today I'm going to show you a step-by-step guide how to get these installed. Alright, now that we got the tire off, got that done, out of the way, we've got the front end lifted up. First, we're going to go ahead and take off 2 bolts to get this brake system out of the way. What you're going to need for that is there's 2 21 millimeter bolts right on the back. Just taking the brake off the rotor. I like to use a little wedge, a little pick to get that off. And then, like I said, bungee these up. Just keep it out of the way. All right, so next step, now that we got the brakes tied up out of the way, all we're gonna do is get this rotor off. I've already got this one loose, so if you are replacing your rotors, you can go ahead and tap on the back of these. If you're not, obviously be a little bit more careful so you don't mar up that braking surface, but we're just gonna get the rotor out of the way. I like to just kind of shimmy back and forth a little bit, and then it comes right off. Before we do any more work, I do like to spray all my surfaces down, just let it set. Something real simple, whatever you have, PB blaster, it's a good one. WD-40 would work, anything really just to try and get these bolts lubricated. Also like to put it around the mounting surface since we are getting this hub assembly off of here. And then there's 4 bolts on the back. Also like to spray those, that way it's a little bit easier when we back those out. All right, while that is setting, what we're gonna do is go ahead and take off the locking hub mechanism. These are just some Torx bits, there's 3 of them, just a little 1/4-inch socket. This little T25 Torx, they're just hand tight. It does have a little bit of a gasket on the back side, so I do like to use like a small little pry bar, something that's not going to be too hard on this mechanism. Really, it's not to pry the entire thing off, it's just to get it started. So just take your little crow's foot or whatever you've got, give it a couple taps, spin it, same thing, give it a couple taps, it slides right out. So that's your 4-wheel drive locking hub mechanism. So what I like to do is basically inspect on the inside here. You can see still a good amount of grease. There's a little bit of that gasket in there. What I like to do just before we move on to the next steps is, again, get some of these other bolts out of here. There are 4 mounting bolts on the back side of this knuckle. Same thing, sticking with that 21 millimeter socket. Once you hear that sound changes, you know that your socket is seated. And then from there, just using a ratcheting breaker bar, and for the most part, especially since you've already sprayed them, they usually come off pretty easy. There we go, just like that. And then some of these you probably are going to need some sort of a swivel. Like I said, especially if you're on the ground like this, it's definitely doable. Just a simple little swivel. Get on a creeper and do it underneath the truck, just so you can kind of see what you're doing a little bit. There's not a ton of room at the bottom there. There we go. And just like the other ones, once you get these started, they move pretty easy. All right, so the last little step, you've got the 4 mounting bolts on the back side of the flange. We do need to get that snap ring out of there. Biggest thing on these is just make sure you have a good depth, because otherwise you will hit that CV axle shaft in there. So let's get that snap ring out. So snap ring is off. Next step is really just removing this ABS cord. Again, this is a really easy part of the job. Just take a 1/4-inch socket with There's a couple of these 8mm bolts. You're gonna take those 8mm bolts off. And then we'll get that ABS cord disconnected, and then we'll actually work on moving that full hub assembly off the knuckle. It's especially helpful if you have a tool like this. They call these crow's foot. But there's just a couple plastic tabs that are in the frame. So you're just gonna pry those up. Okay, so now that it's loose, there is one more connection, which is right behind this fender flap. So we'll get up there, and I'll grab the crawler again. We'll get up there and detach that real quick. There is a small red snap tab right here. Just be careful because they do snap pretty easy. Not a huge deal if it does snap, but what you're gonna do with this tab, you just go straight up and then the entire tab comes out, and then the ABS cord does disconnect. ABS cord is loose, so the new hub assembly comes with a new premium ABS cord as well, so you're not gonna have to reuse the cord at all. Last step is really just removing the hub assembly from the knuckle. Is again, if you're not going to reuse this, a trick to this, take your rotor, put your rotor back on, and then take a couple of your lug nuts, and you're just going to hand thread on, and then you're going to take your rotor and actually use it like a hammer. Once you start seeing that back flange separate from your knuckle, that's where we're going to take this off, and you should be able to get it off. So let's give this a try. They're just hand tight. And usually this method works pretty well, especially if you're already going to be replacing these rotors. If you're not replacing the rotors, just be careful. Obviously you don't want to damage the braking surface. All right, so one of the big differences to our premium hub assembly is that they're E-coated. So E-coating helps a lot of different things, especially in the Midwest where we're at. One of the biggest things is rust prevention. So you'll see here on this OEM hub, there's a ton of rust on there, which really makes it tough to replace and be serviceable. What that coating does, it slows that process down. So we have a lot of road conditions that are not favorable to metal moving parts. So E-coating really helps extend the life of your hub assembly, but also helps with that rust prevention and the corrosion. This old assembly here, the shield is going to come off with it. ABS cord. Big thing you can see on the back here, just how corroded that hub assembly gets. So bearing is in pretty good shape, obviously. Splines are still in pretty good shape too, but we're gonna go ahead and replace this and make an upgrade to the Doc's premium E-coated hub assembly. So our kit comes with a new snap ring and then 4 of your backside mounting bolts. So these bolts, you're actually just going to take your new hub assembly, and what you're gonna do with those is you're gonna hand tighten them in. So go ahead and just thread them down. Gonna have about 1/4 of an inch in between the two of those, and all you're doing is just hand tight. It will bottom out on the stud. It doesn't need to be any tighter than that, because again, what will be torqued down will be on the other side of that knuckle. Okay, so first thing is getting the shield back put on here. Just a little reminder, your ABS cord does need to go through here. So put your hub assembly on the ground, and you're just going to loosely thread that ABS cord through there, and then this lines right up to those flange bolts. You probably are going to have to do a little bit of up and down shimmy back and forth, maybe some left and right, but you just want to get it pretty close in there. That way when you go to put the tension on the back, it'll snug everything up together. And these you don't have to put a ton of grease on. You're not packing it like you would a complete bearing, because our hub assemblies already do come pre-greased. I just like to add a little bit extra in there, especially since we are reusing that 4-wheel drive locking mechanism. I like to get these just started nice and hand tight. And then we'll use our ratchet to snug them down. All right, so there you go, heard the click. That was 133 pounds, 134 pounds actually. So I'm gonna go and do, I first did the bottom, and now I'm gonna go doing the top on the opposite side. Again, just making sure that the hub assembly has a good seat. Cummins in the back. That's good, right? I mean, shoot. All right, so now that we got those snugged down to 133 foot-pounds on the backside, we're gonna go ahead and reattach the ABS cord. Again, just using a little 1/4-inch socket with an 8mm. They do need to flex and move, so just make sure that when you're tightening this 8mm bolt down, you're not snugging it all the way down where it's gonna pinch and bind that ABS cord. Because again, as you steer, as you brake, the cord needs to move and have some flex to it. Then this one is real simple, it just snaps right in. This is where you'll put that red snap ring back in. So don't lose your little red tab. If you do, it's not a huge deal. But this is just what connects your ABS sensor and locks that thing back in. All right, so what we're gonna do now, install that snap ring. Pretty easy, again, if you got the right tools. You need these spreader pliers, and all you're gonna do, go ahead and insert it right over that half shaft. So that snap ring, just go ahead and make sure it's seated. It's got a little bit of a channel back there. Again, it's important that you have the right clip pliers for it. But once you got that in, it's really just putting everything back together. All right, so went ahead and slid the rotor back on. Next thing from there is just reinstalling the braking system. So now we're gonna reassemble the 4-wheel drive locking hub mechanism and 3 T25s. So just line up that detent. All right guys, so now everything is 100% complete. We've got the brand new Docks E-coated hub assembly back on. We've got the 4-wheel drive locker, put that back in. Brakes are reassembled. The only thing left to do is get that wheel back on.